Today we're going to dive into a really fascinating short story by R.K. Narayan called Gateman's Gift, and it's all about how something you love, a real passion, can twist into something, well, something terrifying.
And really, the whole story hangs on this one question. What happens when your greatest passion actually becomes your greatest fear?
All right, so let's get into it. First, we need to meet our main guy, Govind Singh. And you got to understand, this is a man who is all about discipline. His whole life is built on routine.
So he serves in the war, right? And then for the next 25 years, he's a gateman. I mean, think about that. A quarter of a century where his life is just tick-tock. A rhythm of salutes, schedules, the sound of his boss's car. It's all about structure. Total, absolute structure.
But then he retires, and that whole world just vanishes. The structure? Gone. He's suddenly faced with this endless amount of free time. The story calls it an immense sea of leisure. And honestly, he's just adrift, totally lost. The silence must have been just deafening.
So this is where things get really interesting, because out of all that emptiness, Singh finds something, a brand new purpose, and it's something you'd never expect.
He discovers clay modeling, just kind of stumbles into it. And this isn't just a hobby, you know? It completely transforms his life. All that boredom, gone. Replaced with purpose. That emptiness is now filled with creativity. He's not just some retired gateman anymore. He's becoming an artist.
And you can just feel how all-consuming this new world is for him. He's not just fiddling with clay. He is literally, as Narayan puts it, creating a miniature universe. I mean, every single detail, little figures of beggars, tiny buildings, it all becomes his entire reality. This is so much more than a hobby. It's become his whole reason for getting up in the morning.
But here's the thing. Just making these amazing little worlds, it's not quite enough for him. See, his whole life was about service, about getting that nod of approval from his boss. So this new passion feels kind of incomplete without that. He's got this deep, nagging need for validation from the one person whose opinion still means everything to him. So every pension day, he brings one of his creations, his best work, as a gift for his old boss, the general manager. And it's important to remember, he's not looking for money. He's just desperate for a simple sign. Anything. Just a little bit of acknowledgement that what he's doing matters.
And this is where that simple search for a pat on the back takes a really dark turn. It starts to spiral into this absolute, all-consuming terror.
So, he sends in his masterpiece, a little clay model of his old office. And then, a registered letter shows up. Now, for you and me, that's no big deal. But for Singh, a guy who's probably gotten like 3 letters in his entire life, this is not good news. A formal, official letter can only mean one thing: trouble. To him, it feels like a threat.
His mind just goes into overdrive. He immediately jumps to the worst possible scenarios. It's got to be a summons, right? For some mistake he can't even remember making. Or worse, they're cutting off his pension. Or maybe he's in trouble for bothering the big boss with his models. That sealed envelope basically becomes this symbol of everything he fears about the official world he just doesn't understand anymore. And this fear, it just completely takes over. It eats him alive. His behavior gets more and more bizarre, and it sends him on this desperate quest that, well, it ends with him completely falling apart in public. I mean, his wife sees how terrified he is, and she says the most sensible thing in the world: why don't you just open it? But he can't. The fear has him totally paralyzed. For him, opening that letter would be like unleashing a monster. Whatever's inside, it's just too awful to even think about. And so he starts on this really strange mission. He's wandering all over the city asking total strangers for the impossible. Can you tell me what's in this letter without opening it? He even goes to an X-ray lab to see if they can scan it. Of course, everyone he talks to just thinks, this guy has lost his mind. And here's a really key moment. When he starts to think that maybe he is mad, he doesn't resist it. He actually leans into it. He embraces the idea. And there's this weird sense of freedom in that. If you're mad, what do the rules matter anymore? The story says he feels a tremendous freedom. And that's when his actions get even wilder.
Okay, so picture this. He's at the absolute peak of this breakdown, a public spectacle, and that's when the truth finally comes out. And the way it happens is just so ironic and honestly pretty heartbreaking.
Right in the middle of all this chaos, someone from his old life shows up. It's the accountant from his former office. He spots Singh, walks right up to him,
takes that crumpled, feared letter, and right there, in front of everyone who's gathered around, he reads it out loud.
So what's inside? The thing that caused all this torment? It's not a punishment. It's not a summons. It's praise. The exact thing he'd been hoping for all along. The general manager absolutely loves his very artistic models and is sanctioning a reward for him.
And it's a pretty generous reward, too. 100 rupees. A real, tangible sign of appreciation for the art that had dragged him through his own personal hell.
You'd think this would bring him relief, right? But it doesn't. Just confusion. He's totally overwhelmed, completely exhausted, and the only thing he can ask the accountant is, "Tell me, am I mad?" And the accountant, being a kind person, just tells him, "No, you look fine. You aren't mad."
And the tragic irony of it all is just devastating. He got the validation he wanted so badly, but it cost him everything. It cost him the passion itself. The very next day, he flat out says he's done making models. That joy, that creativity, his whole miniature universe, it's just gone. Wiped out by his own fear.
So that's where the story leaves us, with this really haunting question. Singh got the recognition he craved, but look at the cost. What does that tell us about the fine line between a healthy passion and a destructive obsession? It's a powerful story, and it really makes you think about how fragile our creativity can be and how easily our own fears can destroy the things we love most.